you tell me science is greater, you know I'm up for debating. Cause ain't no science that can test the creator. Now, every time I talk, they tell me that I'm preaching at them. That's just the heart of a lion that got me roaring at them. White man's religion, y'all got that from the white man. Most of y'all don't even know that African Tertullian. Just ask him Biddy, he'll tell you about the black man. Being religious is the heart of the African. They get mad when I tell them about the black church. Mama always said, check the manuscripts, the New Testament. Even Bart Ehrman said we had the most that exists. But y'all get mad when he said Jesus exists. I know it's hard to hear when it's coming from an atheist. Stop hating on a black man who's building for the black man. Then turn around and claim you're for that black man. Misplaced hate, but I understand. Cause what they did to us in slavery robbed us of identity. But I'm here to give it back. Beautiful is the black Jesus, ain't a white man. The Bible even tells you that. Egypt is a black land. Shaka even tells you that. Now, why you mad at me? Because I'm speaking facts. Don't stab your brother in the back. We don't have to agree, but we have to have peace. You ain't gotta believe. I have you screaming black power from your bedroom. Computer fingers got you acting gangster in your living room. The devil tried to trump me. I was like, how you gon' defeat me when God is on my side, man? I did battles with them all. Back against the wall, but didn't shrink and didn't fall. I stood tall, debated when it wasn't popular to be a Christian on the platform. Somebody tell Easy Man, it wasn't easy, man. I paved the way on the whole. Jabari screaming, give me down. I'm yelling Jesus' name. Had battles with Shaka, but life was like Dr. and Garfield, Jabari and Reggie. Can't forget Capit and can't forget Wesley. I made the MVP walk up off the court. Can't nobody say Bennett didn't put in work back when it was source up or shut up. I had to rumble in the jungle on sight, no slides. You had to know your information or you had to ride. Truthfully, I'm undefeated with no home court advantage. I got it out the mud, but I never changed up. It's still Jesus to the day I die. And Christianity ain't no lie. I'm still in the game, I just took a break, but now I'm like, who's next? So I need to get ready, cause your boy is back. Yeah.
Man, did y'all see this free show on Black News 102 Sarnetta Studios today? Captain Kataza versus Easy Bands, man. Look, man, Easy Bands got his wings. You know, the great, mighty ISUPK, man, Captain Tazaria got in the fray, and Pastor Bennett. Man, that was something to see, family. That was something to see. Oh, well, hello, everybody. You should know this is Brother Reggie. Let me just say this. Brother Reggie is formidable. Man, there was a lot of smoke today on some other stuff. Maybe I'll talk about it at the end of the show. But man, I was getting phone calls from enemies. Man, two people from Cali, man, I don't mess with. They not my friends. They called me on my phone when one of the two of them was my friends. They're not my friends. And now I just had to tell them, don't call me on my personal phone. You're not my friends, right? Today, I'm going to take a break from what I am doing. I want to talk about Nubia today. We've been hearing a lot about Kemet. And that's a part of the Nile Valley civilizations. But what about the rest? Some people have made great careers in the House of Consciousness over Kemet, right? But they have discounted the rest of the cultures and civilizations. They don't talk about them. They don't talk about the Green Sahara. Shout out to Uncle Keck. They don't talk about the climate change from the Holocene as people in the Green Sahara, the north, the south, the east and the west, and the central move down. And these populations formed not the playa, but something else that we've just recently discovered was we know a lot more about the Eastern Desert. So we know about um, Gobero, and we know, well, we don't, many people don't know about Gobero, and not the playa. They don't know, too many people don't know about the Yellow Nile, the other tributaries, and certainly people don't know about the Eastern Desert. Uh, there's this whole thing about people saying that the culture of Kemet came from the South. Well, in the deep, deep time period, lots of things came from the South. You have the Rift Valley, you have Southern Africa. Ultimately, because of climate, then they moved into the Green Sahara, and then they came back down. So Africa has been, Africans have been all over Africa. We like to pick and choose places. Sometimes it's good because you can specialize in an area, and sometimes we overdo it. Today, I'm going to be talking about. There was a conference that some good friends of mine, Jetta Monk and Monica. Uh, Jetta Monk went to a conference in West, I think West Virginia, uh, and in this conference, these were largely Nubiologists, some of the best, and they came together to talk about Nubia, right, and some Egypto uh, culture, but largely Nubia. And what they did in this conference was incredible. What they did was they talked about the early Egyptologists who discounted Nubia, tried to take Nubia out of the world, at the same time repainting uh, the Nile Valley, Egypt, as we call it, Kemet, as we call it, Tawi, better than Kemet, Tameri, right? We don't use those words too much. We don't use Tawi, the two lands. We don't use Tameri. We hardly ever use Tameri. We use Kemet because Kemet has made a lot of people a lot of money, right? Playing with skin color. Um, all of Africa was African. So uh, they made a lot of money pinpointing that, but we have uh, Takori data, we have Nuriwa data. We know now that the people, because of climate, uh, ranged, and sometimes in that area from brown to very, very dark in that area. Um, and we also know that Africans did not start off dark, dark, dark. So if you want to play that game, you fail because a lot of it has to do with the sun. But what I'm here to do today is talk about this conference that Jenna Monk let me see, sent it to me. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at some nubiologists, right? Let me just see who's in the chat. My brother Born Dog All Day 100, right? Let's see what else is going on. Okay. Uh, my good brother Dog, um, Doc Guad. Peace, man. How you doing? Right? Let's just see. Uh, Tone King. I gotta clean my glasses. Uh, what's the how music? What? Old boy who lived between 700 during the Christian age. Okay, information. Thank you. I'm interested in information. Wow. What else is going on? Um, so I have a lot of friends and I have a lot of foes. Amika, how you doing, Amika? Right? Got a lot of friends. I got a lot of foes. Uh, if you're a foe, stay a foe. I'm not your friend. I'm not piecing out with you. Heard everything that you said. You pick and choose, right? You pick and choose. You don't pick and choose information. You pick and choose your favorite uh, priest. So I'm not your friend. Don't use me. Don't use my work. Don't comment on me. Act like you don't know me. My brother, Immortal Dragon Review. Immortal Dragon Review, at some point, man, I'm going to put in my email for you. You give me a call. Uh, Email me. I want to do a show. If most of you don't know, Immortal Dragon Review is probably one of the best note takers this platform has ever seen. Handwritten notes, right? As things are going live. His reports have been very, very useful in not just the current debates that we've had, but if you look back on all of the debates on science, right? Uh, uh, Kim, um, Immortal Dragon is one of these young people, man, I'm very proud of. Whatever I can do to help promote, um, I'm hoping that you can contact me and do a show. But this young dude is my brother. This He's my brother because whether he agrees with me or disagrees with me, he reports unbiasedly. Matter of fact, Immortal Dragon is a dragon. He's a beast. Um, I'm doing shows for brothers like Immortal Dragon, right? But the people that forgot that I do research, am a good researcher. I know that you heard that I'm not a good researcher from some new age person, right? Who I'm going to deal with, but I'm not going to deal with him right now. But I'm going to deal with him, right? We'll talk about that. But some of you forgot that I'm a researcher. Some of you forgot that I go to conferences. Some of you forgot that I know academics and I've talked to them, right? Some of you forgot that over this picking sides. You picked the wrong side, right? Because the side is always correct information. The side is not reviewing a debate when the people didn't see the debate under a microscope and then reporting as if they won with new rules like sources. Uncle Keck last night did an incredible job. If you didn't see Uncle Keck's show last night on Sinetta Studios, you go watch that show. You talk about, man, Unc was more than a pickpocket. Man, Unc, man, Unc was detailed blow by blow. And it was important because y'all watched a show that got 6,000 views, largely um, attacking me, my research, my sources. And I didn't watch the show, but I have a good feeling of the people that were on that show and what they did. I've been around here for a while, close to 40 years. 40 years looking at concepts of Nile Valley. 40 years. They ain't got the 40 years. Along the way, they're gonna need friends. They're gonna need references. They're gonna uh, they're gonna need recommendations. They're gonna want to meet people. Uh, I'm closing the door on some of them. I'm gonna make it hard, right? I'm gonna make it hard because my character is bad. When did my character get bad? Over one person that I disagree with? That's not my character getting. Ask Dr. Leonard Jeffries about my character. Ask Dr. Yosef Ben Jokanan. Ask Dr. Clark. Ask Dr. Malana Karenga. Man, let me see. I wish you could ask Dr. Carruthers. Ask Dr. Riketti Ahmed. Ask Ifedisi Juhudimas. Ask Dr. Jahi Isa. Ask Dr. Salim Faraji. Ask Dr. Tyrene Wright. These are real. Ask Dr. Mario Beatty. Ask Dr. Greg Carr, right, about my character. But what I've seen the other day was someone who doesn't really know the person email the person and tell the person about a former student, right, who promotes, who lives by my fellow my teacher's work, and that is Dr. Riketti Ahmed. So let me just do this. I'm going to find her Meta Nature, class. So let's put this up and let's promote it. Uh, because we got a lot of people playing around, uh, acting like they know the meta nature, uh, saying that they know people, name dropping. Uh, about 6 weeks ago, she did a course. I think, yeah, she did a course, the introductory course, same course that I took. She did that course uh, herself. She's not done an introductory course for years. She did it for, I think, a small price of $250. You could have talked and met Dr. Ricchetti. You could have learned from her. Um, Maybe I didn't do a great enough job of promoting. I thought I did, but here it is. Welcome to the Institute of Comedic Philology, founded in 1987 by Sabat Ricchetti Amen. This is the online school teaches students how to read and write the Medu Neter, the language of ancient Kemet. Let's see, upcoming courses. Okay, they're gonna update that. She says, "What is the Meta Neter?" Right? What she does is uh, they have many instructors. So let's see who the instructors are. Uh, there she is, Dr. Ricchetti Amen. We call her Moot. Moot is mother, right? She's a Netcher, a Netert, right? Who else is there? You've seen him, Baba Bonacci, right? You've seen him on this platform. Who bought him? Brother Reggie. Brother Reggie bought Baba Bonacci on. Baba Bonacci is one of the best grammar instructors that you will ever have, right? Who else is on there? Man, you seen Sanjeti Ankara the other day. He's an instructor. Take his course. You heard him on Black News 102 the other day, didn't y'all? Here's Sanjeti Ankara right here. This is where he teaches. Jetaman Kekare. There's Brother Jed, right? He's in Kemet. Almost all of them have been to Kemet several times. Jetaman Kekare. How did he get to Kemet? Well, he took a museum trip with me in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. He came all the way from from Richmond, Virginia, and we met. And he was definitely interested in pre-dynastic pottery. Uh, Man, I couldn't get him out of the that one section. We spent maybe an hour in that one section before we went to the rest of the museum, and he's become a lifelong friend of mine. And then I coaxed him into going to Kemet, not on one of these tours of 5,000. I did what I did the other day on the show. I let him know how he can plan a trip. And the beautiful thing about it is he has great relationships with a particular family that owns a hotel. So maybe one day I'll give you some information. If you want to take a trip, it's a great place to stay. But not only that, that family are really connected to tour guides. So here he is, Jed Imam. So these are the major instructors that you could take. But we're going to leave this soon and we are going to go to Nubia. So let's start this. Sorry, personal stuff. Um, Personal stuff. Personal stuff. Uh, let's just let me put this up. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about Nubia. So where is this? I had it up. Pardon me. Where is it? Oh, there it goes. Great. And let's stop it and share the screen. Great. And I think most of you found out, yeah, I might not be too articulate. I may not be too articulate. Well, Well, I'm articulate when I teach. Uh, and some of you thought that I could not debate. Found that out. So, you didn't read the tea leaves, right? I can move the crowd. Let me see what the comments say just before I begin, just to make sure everybody hears me and stuff like that. Oh man, another exciting person. There's several young, exciting people that are exciting. Now, there is a Son Ka. A Son Ka, I was trying to get on the platform 12 years ago. It took him 10 years to get on the platform, but he's here now. He got some things under his belt, right? Man, I am so proud of King J. I met King J largely on the Smash Rockwell show. Wherever Smash Rockwell is, Jonathan Owens, shout out to him. King J is a beast, right? Don't slip on King J. It was interesting conversation with King J and Brother Sanjetti, and on whether or not the Meta Netra is a script or the hieroglyphs or the uh, script. And it was an interesting conversation. But the fact of the matter is, and Sanjetti has a particular way of teaching. But the fact of the matter is that the demotic, the Meta, I'm sorry, what we call the Meta Netra, the hieroglyphs, the hieratic, Coptic. The fact of the matter is, slightly disagree with Brother Sanjetti. Slightly. They were scripts. They are scripts. Because we know more of it now doesn't make it not originally as a script. Because if you read the decipherment of the Rosetta Stone, you find out that there was a known language, which was the Greek, and there were unknown scripts, and those scripts was demotic and what we call the hieroglyphs or the Meta Netra. And so they were scripts. They still are scripts. It was just, I think Brother Sanjetti just made a different point, but King J was still there. He wasn't playing. He was still there. Who else is there on? So there's King J. Man, we got, man, I don't care what they say about Brother Harwin. Uh, what they're gonna what's gonna happen tomorrow with Chuck Morgan and Harwin. Um, but I could tell you that I respect Brother Harwin. Every time I put Meta Netra up in front of him, no fake. He's read it as good as some of the uh, I think as good as some of the other ones that are great, like Asar and Ka, like King J, some of the other people on the that was on Smash Rockwell show, proud of Harwin. I don't know why they're giving him a hard time because he was a Nuwabian. There were a lot of people who were Nuwabians. They may not claim it. He still claims Nuwabian, but he does it because of brothership. He never met Dr. York. So I don't know why people are banging on Harwin. Who else is there? To mention Immortal Dragon, proud of them. Now there are people who I'm not proud of. Oh, and then there's of course Ashe. Ashe, uh, very insightful, uh, young, uh, tight, right? He's not a coward. Sharp. Of course, got energy, right? Those people I'm so proud of, and there are a lot of other people. And if I think of you, I am. Now, there's people that I'm not proud of. I'm not proud of anybody who is a fanboy. A fanboy is a person who really hasn't shown any expertise, but they regurgitate. So I'm not going to mention their names because they're not worth their names being mentioned. But what they do, the fanboys and the regurgitated, what they do is they're like ticks. They rest on the work of other people with no real original work themselves, right? Now they claim that they're writers and stuff like that. Well, it's interesting. I think these days anybody could be a regurgitative writer, but what happens is that you have to have a thesis about an original work. What you find with the regurgitators is they don't have any original work, none. What they do is they may find some things of other people's work, but they have not gotten to the level of original work, meaning they haven't traveled enough, they haven't studied under a teacher, they're self-learned, but they do push-ups and pull-ups and dips, and they children in men's bodies. That's all they are. Children's in men's body. They're regurgitators. They're horse thieves. Um, some people like King J and them, King J and all of those people, they have original ideas and they put it out, and then they go into the dojo, and sometimes they prevail and sometimes they don't prevail, right? Uh, oh boy, then there's listen, I gotta love indigenous black man. Man, indigenous black man read everybody's thoughts. Um, uh, wow. Uh, Got to put them on a big screen. I don't care what indigenous black man says about me. When you listen to indigenous black man, he's highly intelligent. It's just that he knows you got to credit indigenous black man for all of the work. All of my work, I got to credit indigenous black man. But I've heard him speak. He's bright. Uh, man, uh, I can't be mad at indigenous black man. Pan African James and Apparel, man, always in the cut is Pan African James and Apparel. You listen, he's been in the fights for a long time. He's similar to me. He's unforgiving. Uh, how can I say? If my friend is not his friend, then I'm not his friend at the time that my friend that's not his friend is on the panel. You got to respect Pan African James, but Pan African James, believe it or not, has been right. Right when he's been in these wars, when you start talking about African DNA and you start talking about the lack of samples and how even Nui Watts data is screwed. Uh, Pan African James is right there. I've read his work. I've been chastised for even reading Pan African James' work. But when I put it in the search engines and I put it in all the search engines, I put them in the best search engines that I paid for, Pan African James has been right. Then there's, man, the pseudo killers, man. Cedric Ortega. Now, you got to respect Cedric. Now, on some things, me and Cedric, we go out, on a limb, but Cedric Ortega is a trained chemist, right? He knows science. He knows the scientific method, right? He's made his money and still makes his money on science. You can't lowboy uh, Cedric. You can get into an argument with him. But you got to be very careful, right, with him, right? You got to be very careful because he will embarrass you, right? Um, okay, so there are so yeah, Cedric is saying peace to the fam, right? And his indigenous black man, right? There you go. Um, uh, Let me see Rakufu. Rakufu, me and you have partially pieced out, but we have partially pieced out. But we've had some good times. But two of your dudes called me from Cali as if they were putting pressure on me, and so it's just that Rakufu, you on. Look, we go back and forth. I never really disrespected you. It's just that now you on a real bad team right now, and There's you kind of in the middle. So yeah, me and you, we kind of pieced out. Um, Sometimes you think I'm talking about you, and I'm not talking about you. But let's just take it day by day, brother Rakufu, right? What's going on? Um, Sorry for the long introduction, but what is happening is that I'm upset about this 6,000 view video that came out disparaging my character, making me as trying to take away uh, 40 years of me being doing this work and the last 15 years on Sonetta uh, from somebody that I had first an intellectual disagreement with, and now it's something else. But if you saw the debate, right? If you saw the debate, then you know what it is, right? And some people are not even worth mentioning. Okay, so let's get into it. So what's really important is I'm going to have to start and stop this video. So there was a conference in West Africa, in West Virginia, all about Nubia, and now Western scholars, or who we call Western scholars, Western trained scholars from the academy, has went back and they're purging. Listen to this, family. They are purging the old history and replacing it with a new history. So are y'all ready to see that? Are y'all ready to see that? Okay. And this is my show, so if I'm not gonna time you out yet, but I'm not. I if you want to hear a mess with my character and stuff like that, and you want to say anything negative, especially when I'm teaching and I'm promoting the people that I think that are exciting in our community, right? Um, I'm gonna that's what I'm gonna do because I've always promoted people. I've always pushed young minds up. I've always done that. You see me with everybody. Brother Reggie supports, but but that's always not a guarantee. If you make mistakes, I'm going to criticize you, and if you make big mistakes, I'm going to disassociate from you, and I'm going to close the door on you, right? I'm going to leave you in a waiting room, right? Because there's universities that people have access to, and sometimes in those universities you need a professor to bring you in. There's libraries, you need library cards, or sometimes you need credentials to even get a library card, right? There's appointments, uh, then there's museum tours and all this other stuff. Some people are invited, some people are not invited. That's just how you treat me a certain way, I treat you a certain way. So with that said, let me get out of the chat. Let me just close down the chat, right? And let's deal with what we're going to deal with is this conference on Nubia and how young Nubiologists, right, are purging their old, how can I say, uh, not mentors, but purging the old history of Africa, the Nile Valley. So let's go.
Simply tries to kick some sand or Nile silt over the notional boundaries of the official perspectives.
We have evidence of grinding stones, so processing of wild plants.
Okay, this is Dr. Maria Grado. She is one of the experts on Nubia, right? And again, I've had the pleasure of talking to some of them in conferences. And I wrote Dr. Grado because I wanted to deal with Gatto. I wanted to deal with the issue of color and race. That has been my one of my issues, and I wanted to know about Nubian populations and Egypt. So I asked her a question, and she says, so she wrote me back. She says, the lack of sites and people in Nubia during the first half of the third millennium has been interpreted as a consequence of Egyptian domination in the region that pushed people away. I've argued that because of the rise of the new Egyptian power but also because of other reasons, among others, climatic changes. People did not disappear from Lower Nubia, but went back to a more mobile way of life that includes a more desert oriented occupation, with only seasonal presence along the Nile, hence the lack of permanent sites. Nubians and Egyptians share a common cultural background that takes two distinct directions only during the state formation period. This makes it difficult to distinguish between the two. But then it depends on what we are looking for. Identities are constantly constructed and reconstructed for a number of reasons. A Nubian living in Egypt may want to address his Nubianness on specific occasions, while others may prefer to be seen as Egyptians. That's a very important nuance point. That that Nubian will not be the same as a Nubian living in his homeland, as he will not have the same experience as a Nubian who moved into Egypt recently or in the past. It's a very complex issue. Hope it helps. Best regards, Dr. Maria Gatto. And the question generally was, I was trying to deal with Nubian populations, or what you call Nubian populations, or people from the south within Egypt. And she answered the question eloquently. Look, they're all the same people. You really can't tell, right? Um, but that person who originally came from the south, like a person from Mississippi and New York, he may want to show his Mississippianness when he wants to, or when she wants to. But otherwise, they're living in New York. It's the same in Egypt, what we call ancient Egypt. Person in the South may want to show that they rep Lower Nubia on occasions, but otherwise they're Egyptians, or what we call Egyptians. And so I also got a chance to talk to Stuart Tyson Smith about this, and we'll see if we can get to that part or have to do a part two. Okay, so let's just go on. So let's just start this. There we are. Okay, so I'm reading. So let's get to the conference. I'm just.
In all honesty, the exhibition simply tries to kick some sand or Nile silt over the notional boundaries of the official perspectives.
We have evidence of grinding stones, so processing of wild plants, for instance. We have symbolic realms that we can see from the presence of rock art. This is one of the earliest rock art in Africa. And we have burial grounds in Nubia, things that you don't have in Egypt at all until the fifth millennium. So something, that is so much important in the tradition of the Nile Valley, always cemeteries everywhere. And they were already present in Nubia at the end of the late Pleistocene, so more than 10,000 years ago, particularly.
So what she said is people living in this area, they are burying themselves 10,000 years ago. So normally we talk about what's happening in Egypt, and we talk about even in Nabta Playa, and we know that people have moved from the Green Sahara, but now they're looking at this area. Now, one of the things that they have found that we're looking at is something called Abia, which is in the Eastern Desert, right? Which seems to be where now the Magi populations came from, and then maybe later the groups of people that you call the Blemmies. So let's see what else she says.
In the Middle Nile region, because there is a lot of space along the valley, in the valley, and we have evidence of large cemeteries, burial grounds already in this period. And in that tomb up there that you can see in the drawing, so dated around 6000 BCE, we have the earliest evidence of a bucranium from a domesticated cattle.
So if you think about it, so she's talking about Bucanian burials. These are cattle type burials. And then you got to also remember in the Nabta Playa region, there's the cattle stone. So cattle is very important, but humans are being buried with cattle in this period of 6,900 to 5,500. So this way predates what they call Kemet. You know, Kemet, you have Nakata 1, 2, and 3. Uh, and so you have this area about close to about 4,000 BC onwards, but 6,000, 7,000, you have a population of people already doing funerary rites and connecting themselves with cattle and other animals, right?
So we have the earliest evidence of domesticated animals in the Nile Valley. Is the fifth millennium where we have a grow in number. There is a peak of cemeteries and campsites, particularly in Upper Nubia. There are so many tombs and so rich with their offerings, and you can see a lot of horn and bucrania of cattle again, and also other animals like sheep and goat. Why is important the fifth millennium? Because this is the...
Okay, so now, wow, this period, again, predates what we call Kemet that we brush our teeth with, but the important thing is you see the emergence of special kind of pottery types, Badari pottery types that you could have seen in the Metropolitan Museum that Jetamanka saw, and you see the emergence of blacktop pottery, right? And then you also see the emergence of figurines, human figures on pottery. And so this is really, really great just to begin to unpack this.
Moment where not just in Upper Nubia, where I told you, the landscape is very convenient if you want to settle along the Nile, because there is space to stay there. So not only in this place, you have a proliferation of cemeteries, so of communities that are at least most of the time settled along the Nile, but also in Middle Egypt, where for the first time we have this kind of evidence connected with the so-called Badarian culture, and also in the south, in the Khartoum region. What is interesting is that both north...
So Dr. Shamaka Keita has done a lot of work on the Badarians, and the Badarian populations are in Egypt proper, right, as they call Egypt proper. And they've all kind of separated the Badarian population, tried to make it separate, but certainly it's groups of people that were from the south. Their bone structures, and Dr. Shamaka Keita, he talks about that. You can go to a number of places that he's talked about the Badarians, and that the Badarian burials will certainly be very, very important in understanding DNA. But it's not under the control of African people. It's under the control of the Egyptian authorities, and looking at the DNA and reconstructing it is not in their interest, because it would tell a different story.
Then south of the Middle Nile region, south of Nubia, we have pottery that has connection with the central region. We have evidence also in the deserts of people living mostly in the desert environment, so more mobile and more, let's say, pastoral oriented in their economy. We have particularly evidence of tombs, stone tumuli, stone superstructures. There are also a lot of monuments of...
So they're going from Eastern Desert, and now they're into the Western Desert with Naphtha Playa. And let me see if you see the cow stone. I don't see the cow stone, but there's pastoral activity. But it's also what we have found about these groups of people and their megaliths being arranged to tell time. Let's see what Dr. Gatto has to say.
Stele of animal burials, so a very symbolic realm that we can see from this kind of evidence. So this is, let's say, cultural environment up to the fifth millennium, a very shared, pastoral-oriented environment. Things changed during the fourth millennium with the process.
So we've crossed a lot of periods right now. We've crossed a period about 8,000 BC, and so now we're into this uh, 4,000 BC period, and this gets us to state formation. Before that, it was chiefs and maybe you can even say hunter-gatherer societies, small groups. But these groups along the way have learned to feed larger populations, and so that here in this region right here, you have what they call Nubia A group, and over here you have what you would call Nakata, uh, 321. This is after the Badarian, and that you will then uh, these groups of people are communicating. These are not separate groups of people. You can see the region along the Nile, and they have some around the same time period or earlier. The Nubian Kusel burner you see here, Dr. Bruce Williams' work, and then you see the Nurmer. But there's also other. There's the Libyan palette, and there's other smaller palettes. But these things kind of mark large state formation groups of people, large state formation. And so let's see what else she has to say. So this is giving you an idea. These are not separate communities along the Nile, as though they may be seemingly separate, but they're communicating, and that writing will come very soon. So the Kusel incense burner may have elements of writing that they don't want to talk about because it has a southern, but certainly the Nakata pottery type vessels also have the beginnings of motifs that you will see in the Nile Valley, right? Like Bat, like the Necher Bat.
Of state formation in Egypt. Egypt must differentiate, create a new identity. And it does that by settling along the Nile in a more permanent way. So two different, let's say, complex polities develop at the end of the fourth millennium. One, of course, is ancient Egypt, that we all well know. The other one is in Nubia, and we call it the A group. So the A group is another complex polity, just like ancient Egypt. The difference is that it's not based on the same kind of socioeconomic background. So ancient Egypt is based on communities living along the Nile in larger settlements or in proto-urban centers. Agriculture is the main economical source, and so on and so forth. Nubia instead, and so the A group, continue to have this kind of semi-mobile or semi-permanent approach to living the landscape, pastoral oriented also in the economy, and so on and so forth. So, of course, the kind of political system that you get out of these two different culture societies is different. So we cannot expect to find the same thing in Nubia than in Egypt, but this doesn't mean that the A group polity was less complex and less important than the Egyptian one. And it's probably a possibility that the territorial state developed in Egypt is based on this kind of mobility and use of the landscape of the territory that is this ancestral Nilotic tradition. But what is interesting is that the main...
Wow, that was incredible. Two different cultures, same types of people, dealing with the environment slightly different, problem solving, sharing and trading, different but similar at the same time. This is how experts look at it when we are not, how can I say, fighting about, like, let's say, Kemet origins. This conference is about looking at the whole stretch, and you're going to find more similarities than difference. But we have been in an environment where it's been polarized. And again, we have people who are Kemet, and you would think all these years they would talk about Nubia, but Nubia is, they seem to take a some of the particular Nosut's attitudes about Nubia as if they are those groups of people. So in from the ancient time period. So it's just amazing how much information that we don't know. So let's look at some more of what she has to say, and hopefully this will help us in our thinking.
In sites, settlements or cemeteries, in Lower Nubia and also in Upper Nubia, so all the stars that you can see on the map associated with the so-called A group culture are placed along the river, but at the intersection or at the end or the starting point.
Okay, so on the map you have not the playa here off the Nile in the Western Desert. There is also over here Gif Kabir. Gif Kabir is a very important part when you're not drawing Uncle Kek into these polarized fights. Uncle Kek is probably one of the earliest people that talked about the rock art and the let's just say the green Sahara and the dotted and wavy line pottery, right? Here's places that we're familiar with, Abju, right? But this is on this part right here. This view is Abju's here. When we think about Cairo and them, is all the way up here. So she's doing is she's looking at and giving us an idea of this range of areas that are really related, right? That are in the South, but not the way that we think about the South. They are in the South, but it's a stretch because you have Gif Kabir and you have not the Playa, right? And so it's not the view that we're used to. And then it goes all the way down to the other cataracts, right? So these are the dynamics, and she's starring important places. So our perspective is usually from here all the way up, instead of even looking at this particular range, because Abju is in the South, right? All these places in the South, but we don't, our range is Kemet, unfortunately.
Desert roads, the interregional trade. And so it's thanks to this kind of knowledge that they had, that was associated with the pastoral tradition, that they could develop this kind of complex polity.
And King J is right, Buhan. So we don't look at Buhan, which was also a very, very important part of later what you call Egyptian society, because these are the places where they created these forts to deal with this population over here. So Smash Rockwell, he's done a lot of work on that. But King J is accurate by telling us about Buhan.
In response and in a strong interplay with pre-dynastic Egypt, with the state formation in Egypt, and also the presence of cattle graves associated to the human graves. So again, this kind of symbolism connected to the pastoral world that is
so important that I just didn't pull out was this is probably here.
Right. And so it's thanks to this kind of knowledge that they had, that was associated with the pastoral tradition, that they could develop this kind of complex polity in response and in a strong interplay with pre-dynastic Egypt, with the state formation in Egypt. And also
so, wow. we hear a lot about um, cemeteries, and so now we have a look at some of what where the Kustal incense burner was. We can do more of that. Um, Remember I talked about Nakata period, but you have the Kustal Cemetery L, where you have the Kustal incense burner from, and then you have some of the other artifacts. So this is incredible. You just think it's a slide, but it's something that we don't actually see often about, what is happening in Nubia, where you see geometric type images, uh, pyramid or mound function formations, and these types of motifs that or in Nubia or so-called Nubia at the same time that we will see it in what we call kime as we brush our teeth with it. So we don't see and we don't pay attention to this, right? But they're the same people sharing ideas in different environments.
Presence of cattle graves associated to the human graves. So again, this kind of symbolism connected to the pastoral world that is keep present in Nubia. Of particular interest is the presence of so-called incense burners, not just in Kustul, but also in other burial contexts, always associated to rich tombs.
Okay, so wow. We've seen this many times, the Kustel incense burner as it's stretched out. This time we see this. Here's Sarnetta, my brother Sarnetta. I think I'm doing something wrong. Got to
No, no,
check.
no. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk.
Oh, okay. Um, so basically, we often see, but shout out to Sarnetta. If it wasn't for Sarnetta, we wouldn't have this programming. We cover a lot of range. Yeah, we cover sometimes information and information beeves, but we also cover history on Black News 102. And so we have the host live here checking in. Um, so the Kusal incense burner has been important a lot for we take an Egyptian view of it. Wow, there's a white crown. Wow, there's Horus, the falcon on a Shrek, right? But then we go back into our Egypt craziness, right? But then we see this right here, which I haven't had a chance to finish my work and publish, but here we see a man with three legs, if you know what I'm talking about. But behind him, you see, which I couldn't figure it out, but Jedem Ankh helped me figure it out, was that you see this antelope. So this man with the three legs, behind him is an antelope that stands up and is always ejaculating during fertile periods. He just can't help himself. But you have him behind him, and then you have this symbol right here, which seems to be nature symbol. So what you have is this man symbolized by his anthropomorphic, uh, how can I say, not opposite, but this is basically, if you understand it, these are classifiers. These are what we will call later in Egyptian writing, as we call it, the meta nature, classifiers. And here you have a man, right? And this man has a name. You don't know what this name. You know who he is later. His name is Min. His name is Min, and he is Min is a Netcher. But in this case, Min is a Netcher, but he's not a cosmic supernatural Netcher. He never was. He was more like a chief Netcher. So I heard in some crazy debate that there's some exceptions to the rule, and there were only 3 deified ancestors. Um, you can't tell that to an Egyptologist. I mean, you fanboys, you can't do that. This is Min, and we might see him later. This is a classifier, him connecting to animal that pretty much represents him. And then here, believe it or not, this is a Netra symbol, and Min is a Netra. Here, over here, you have the famous white crown um, with the Horus. And so the falcon worship was in largely the south before it seemed to come to the north. Here you have Seker Ankh's captives, living captives, hands behind their back on a boat. And then over here, you have a kind of uh, palace facade. This palace facade, this type, you will see later if you look closely at the uh, 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 Nechaket Zozer's, or you look at the step pyramid, you will see this type of motifs. The most important thing, one of the important, you see them with barges. Later, you will see concepts of suns on barges, the sun worship, but this is before that. And then you have this rosette right here, right? Which would be important because you will see this connected to Shashet later. Sails, boats along the Nile or on wadis, right? And you see other incense burners. We're very familiar with this Kustal incense burner, but there's also the Siali palette, and then you see incense. Now, incense was very important. When people want to say spiritual, well, smoke, um, senses, how can I say, smells, incense, and stuff like that was very important to their ritual concepts. And of course, some of these things are actually some of the instances coming from maybe Nubia, but some of the instances coming from as far as places like Punt, because these groups of people are the people that is most connected to the Red Sea and Punt. Let's see what the chat is saying.
So this is something that an object that was in use for ritualities, rituals that were associated to the elite. In some cases, like the two incense burners here in the upper part of the slide from Kustul, you have decoration that are clearly influenced by the royal iconography from Egypt. You can see, for instance, let's see if I can, the representation of a king wearing the white crown here, but also here, boats, royal boats, so ceremonial iconography associated with Egypt.
Now, this is very interesting because she takes the vantage point that it came from what she calls Egypt into Nubia, but the problem is the evidence. Because we know this iconography is definitely here, right here, but the question is what came first. So she's taking the perspective that this came from Egypt down, but then we know that this Netra right here, Min, is a southern. So it could be a mixture, but she's the expert, and so all we can do is listen and communicate and ask for clarification, not regurgitation. Not regurgitation, but ask for clarification. So you saw in real time, I asked for clarification, right? If there was someone that I thought was a promising researcher, I would give you Dr. Gatto's email where you can best reach her, right? But if you are somebody who I do not respect, no, go pay for a conference and go and try to see her and talk to her. But I'm not helping you because you are trash to me, just a simple regurgitator. So now you're seeing somebody in a different type of league, and I can help people because I know how to communicate with them. So this is an open question. I would want to know from Dr. Gatto, what does she mean? Because I don't see this necessarily in Egypt. I don't see the white crown. I see more elements of the white crown in the south.
Pre-dynastic and early dynastic Egyptian iconography. But on an object that is only Nubian, made by the Nubian elite and not just taken from Egypt. So this kind of interplay and entanglement of different symbolism, different iconography, and put them together is really extremely important to understand not only the Nubian, let's say, society and culture, but also the Egyptian one and the influence that each other had on them.
Okay, so now we're going to get into what they call Kermer. That's 20, and this Kermer 2900, and I put on the screen Sirius B. Sirius B is serious, right? He's some of our most secret weapon, Sirius B, right? Well educated, resourceful, knows programming, knows AI, knows systems. He helps us move into technology. That's Sirius B, right? And you see some of his work through some of our work, right? And we're so thankful to have Sirius B. So now we're going to look at Kermer. Now this is 2900 BC. So we know state formation in Egypt, if you want to talk about Nermer, is 3100, 2900 BC. We get here archaeology, right, that we didn't really know about of early Kermer in the same period, right? As Kermer would become a threat. So what you're seeing right here is top-notch archaeology, right? So these are reconstructions. These are art reconstructions of the type of housing and the layout, and then what they are building this this recreation from aspects of here. So what they're finding is walls, right? Because you don't see this. You don't see this in Kermer. What you see is this. And so without expert archaeologists, right, who are digging expertly, you don't get this. We never knew about this. So let's see what she got to say.
Another point that is very interesting at this moment in time, so the end of the fourth millennium and the beginning of the third millennium with the state formation in Egypt, is the urbanization. So large settlements, urban centers that for the first time we can find in Egypt. But also in Nubia, we have one example that is the only one at the moment, but it's extremely important. So it was found at the same place as the Royal Kerma Cemetery, so south of the Third Cataract, and is a settlement that is associated to the so-called pre-Kerma culture, just because it's before Kerma, so it's very simple. But you can see here a reconstruction, and although if you look at this, you would say, well, we have huts, we have, pits on the ground, we have enclosure for animals. I mean, what kind of urban center is this? But remember that we are talking about pastoral societies. With the unification of Egypt, with the first dynasties, things change in Nubia. And so, particularly in Lower Nubia, where it seems that all of a sudden, there are no more sites, no more cemeteries, no more people.
So she's explaining a period, right, when the state formation of Egypt came, right? All of a sudden, it seems that this region went kind of absent. I don't want to use a color type of thing that we normally do. So what is the rationale? Is the rationale that when Nermer created the state, was the rationale that people most of these people from the south went into that land, which we would call Egypt, Tawi, or did they just go back to a mobile way of life? And so here she's getting ready to describe this period where there is absence.
What happened is because Egypt arrived and, let's say, took everybody out.
Our next speaker is Professor Elizabeth Miner, who is an assistant professor at the Social Science Department in Cal Poly.
The topic I'm going to be speaking on today is here versus there, growing complexity and interregional interactions of the C group, Kerma, and the Old to Second Intermediate periods of Egypt. In case you're wondering, yes, this is also quite a long period of time. Actually, let me set my clock, because knowing me, I will gladly talk about this for, we just covered it in class, it took 2 hours, but not today. Okay, so here is a comparison chart of the chronologies between Egypt, lower.
If I was y'all, I would screenshot this chart, right? If I were y'all, this is what they do in the a master's and PhD level. I would screenshot the chart so you can have a better idea of comparisons of time frames and groups of people. So I hope this is educational to you. So even here, where you have the Greco-Roman that's happening in Egypt, what's happening in Lower Nubia is various things. But in Upper Nubia, you have Meroic. The Byzantine period, okay, that's the Roman period, right, where you can say Roman, I'm not going to say, I would just say Roman, the last phase of the Roman Empire in there. You have Lower Nubia X group. So a lot of times we get confused about what is the X group? The X group is in Lower Nubia. We have evidence in the Byzantine period, and then of course that in the Upper Nubia there is the Christian kingdoms, right? The early Coptic, the Coptic groups of people. So this is a great handy chart that you would have if you were talking to any of these people, because they might just say classic karma, and you have to now figure out second intermediate, right? Or if they say something like the C group, then you say, where's the C group? What's going on in Egypt? First intermediate, right? So this is a very helpful chart. People like Immortal Dragon and King J will say, well, thank you. I got something I can put in my pocket when I go to these conferences, so I can know exactly. I can say, oh, okay, I know, okay, I got it. So that they're not confused. The regurgitators, forget y'all. Y'all don't pay attention to stuff. And when you regurgitate, we find out where you got it from. And the regular learners, we're just telling you how to deal with methodology, right? Methodology. Because we have these debates and stuff with people just saying stuff with no methodology. No instance of methodology. Sometimes methodology is chronology. Sometimes it just depends what you're trying to prove and how you're trying to prove it, right? I was in a debate recently. Let me take myself out of the body and put myself in the audience. I don't know what the person was trying to prove, that the Netra rule were not literal. I didn't see, sitting in a chair, I didn't see one slide that showed that the person was even trying to prove that, or how they was trying to prove it. Not that it was both things, or could be both things, but it's just not literal. How could any writing system, any civilization, not have anything that's not literal? Especially when it deals with their deities or spirits or whatever you want to call it. None of that is literal. None of that's actual. So I was sitting in my seat watching this debate between a person who knows the subject, knows meta nature, against someone who you can look at their face and they know, and you know that they don't. And so there's reading it in text, and then there's something like reading it from getting a feel of the particular language and what scholars say. So that's interesting. Uh, but this particular chart, I would think that if you could take a picture of it, put it in your pocket, and if you go to one of these conferences, this will help you move from point to point to point, right? And not get lost between just Egypt, but understand what's happening both in Lower Nubia and Upper Nubia at the same time. You think that's worth it? You think that's smart? Great.
For Nubia and Upper Nubia. And as Professor Gatto was just describing, it's important to distinguish the different cultural groups between Lower Nubia, so Northern Nubia, and Upper Nubia, or Southern Nubia. What we're going to be talking about today is, no, well, let's use this one. So from Old Kingdom into the Second Intermediate, and as you can see, as she mentioned, pre-Kerma is starting as early as the pre-dynastic. We're not going to talk too much about ancient Kerma, middle Kerma, jump right into classic Kerma. But you can see when we're speaking about these Nubian polities, they have an incredibly long period of their own development that, again, often gets overshadowed.
So you saw how she was able to use that chart, right? And jump between different periods. Sometimes you can do it by memory, but why do it by memory when you can have a chart? Then you can immediately follow her. That's what we do in school and universities. We create charts. And so now yes.
Hey, my brother Reggie, see, this is what I'm talking about now. This is the Reggie I love right here. You getting into the knowledge, brother. I'm proud of you tonight, man. I'm proud of you tonight. You really going in and bringing that information. And this is what the people want. And so now, I don't think, family, that y'all will have a problem giving our brother some donations when he's bringing this type of information, man. That's what I'm talking about. Bring that.
Well, I haven't put in my Cash App, but thank you.
Yeah,
but I always bring this in.
Throw that Cash App in there. Not lately. You've been how I would say
I'm banging.
No, not like that. I don't want to get you started, brother. You're doing great right now. I'm saying you just been sidetracked for a minute. You know, people been making you go sideways for a minute. But this the Reggie I love. This the one that brings that information, and this the one that's at his best when he do his top research right here. Go ahead, brother Reggie.
Yeah, but the person I'm banging on says that I don't do research.
Yeah, don't worry, brother. You ain't even.
No. I'm a teacher person.
Right, let me get up out of here. Let me get up.
I'm a teacher. I'm gonna teach you.
I don't want you to go back that route, brother. You're doing great.
No,
right?
no, that route. Okay. No, bro. Tomorrow I'm going that route. But today I'm being, leave me and let me do my work. But don't try to sun me ever, right? Now son got me into the whole thing. It's like I saw the lunch trap. He got me into it's like I was cool until the lunch trap. Nah, I do both things because I defend Africa, and I defend Africa from fakes, right? So let me just continue.
Yes,
right? This chart is a chart that we definitely need and we should use. Okay, peace.
Shadowed by the Egyptian material instead. You're not going to be tested on this, unlike my students. This is just for reference. You can understand the different cultural groups that are active during this time. There's the C group, which is in Lower Nubia and the desert areas, which has much contact with Egypt, but is generally resistant to cultural exchange. The Pangrave comes in later in the Second Intermediate period.
Ready?
Yeah, in desert.
Yes.
Do you have Zelle? Yara is asking you, do you got Zelle?
Oh, Yara's my dude. I have it's my email. I'll put it in. But if
you got Zelle on your email?
Yeah, my Zelle is on my
email. You got to show me how to do that, Reggie. That's what I've been trying to do.
Okay. Well,
all right, go ahead, continue. But Yara needs your Zelle, brother. Put your email in there.
Okay, Yara's my dude. We can always talk. And I support Brother Yara. He's definitely one of the best of the Christian Hebrew groups of people. Look, Yara gave us a hard time the other night on Sunday. Don't be playing around with Yara. Yara, Pastor Bennett, man, y'all gotta be watching those dudes. But Yara does more archaeology. Pastor Bennett does more Bible stuff. Yara does more. Yara will he will go all the way to Yemen, and his reach is real far as far as
Drop your email right quick though, Reggie. So because he's waiting in the chat.
yeah, well, he can always get me. I'm right now. I'm not at that point, but I'm trying to get to people. If you would have copied that chart, then you could have followed what she's saying right now, because what she did was set up a chart, and then she drops this, but it's under Pangrave Nubia, so C group karma. So then you could have added to the chart points, right? Okay, so that's how what happens in academia. So you can't. So if she was testing you and you were familiar with that chart, you would do all right. But if you was one of these regurgitators and not paying attention, you'd be messed up. So let's go.
Areas. And again, we see much contact with Egypt, but in general resistance to cultural exchange. The star piece of the show, the stela of Nenu, I think really embodies this idea perfectly. So here is Nenu, who calls himself Nahesi, Nubian, standing here with his Egyptian wife, and then his family and his hunting dogs. All of the ways that he's commissioned the sculptor to show his parts of his complex identity. He was living in Egypt. I believe this one was not excavated, but there's many others that were around the site of Gebelane from the first intermediate period, where Nubians, probably C group Nubians, have been hired by Egyptian nomarchs or kind of local provincial rulers to fight for them in different series of.
So we have to work this out, because she's making this point that they were hired. She's not making a point that they were already always there. So there's still some of that distinction, but it's getting better. So now you have Nino, whose also name is Nahesh, right? And maybe she made that because there is a closer connection to Nahesh, because he's still rocking Nahesh, right? Instead of his Egyptian identity. But what you see is basically what they call a Egyptian tomb wall, or something that would be on the tomb wall, where you immediately see the Hotep Dinasut, right? So now watch this. Here is the Hotep Dinasut, and it's into Inpu, right? And he is the Tep. He is the head of the Jew, of the mountain, his mountain, right? And then you see, I think this is Ut, which would be starts talking about the mummification, and this would probably be the bear where you lay the person on. Now for mummification. But interesting is this period, and before there was a Osir, there was Inpu. So the earliest Hotep Dinasut did not go to Usir. Usir is a later creation family. There was Soker, right? There was a lot of earlier Netchers. Usir comes later. So all of this Usir stuff, Osiris and Set and all of that, guess what? Most of that begins, it has interplay, but the Hotep Dinasut to Asir is not here. Now you say over here, this is M, and then you see what you call As, like, but you don't see Asir yet. You see three what you call King J, you can help me, but this is, I'm not going to say it's these are three places, right? and then you see the Lord, and I think this is I can't see if this is a Nefer, right? Uh, a person like King J and Smash, we don't see symbolism. We see writing, right? We don't see what non meta nature him nature sees. They see things, dogs, right? We don't see that. We know it's here, but King J and Soren Ka and Jedamonk and Brother Reggie, right? We're looking for writing. We immediately, I'm gonna immediately try to read this. I'm gonna say the Ka of, right over here, the Ka of. I'm gonna see this, right? Even though it's small, I'm gonna see it as I see ABC, right? I'm gonna blow this up and I'm gonna see the names of his children. Then I'm gonna go down here and I'm gonna look for wow, the Imaki, the respected, and then I'm gonna start looking for his name. Hey family, don't be fooled by these fake comedics who talk about spirituality and can't read. Don't be fooled. Don't be impressed by them. Because see, what they do is they use people like us, and then they use our work to come by, and then they do the picture work. They do the picture work, right? They want to express spirituality. You can miss me with that BS, right? Because if you can't help a person, if I'm going to Kemet, I'm going to Nubia, and I see this, I want somebody to read this to me. I see the man and his wife, but I want to see, I'm not hating family. I'm telling you the truth. There's a difference between people who are trained, who can help you read, and people who want to spiritualize everything to hide their ignorance. You can say what you want, but check this out. She's not reading it. Reggie's reading it.
Of wars to defend their territory. So he's showing himself in a way that is readable to ancient Egyptians, the community in which he's been working and living, but he's putting in all of these complex context clues about his background, his family, his true identity. He's displaying in the afterlife.
Okay, so his Immortal Dragon Review does what he does, right? So he's saying, okay, how would you read the three assets or the or as, right? How would you read it, right? Hey, peace, Chuck Morgan. How you doing, my good brother? Heard you doing some work tomorrow. Going to be watching it. And learning, of course, as we always learn. And if you don't know, Chuck Morgan is our resident expert on Samaria, the Assyrians, and those particular groups. So, of course, King J is plurality, but plurality of what? Of this place, right? Of this particular place. So, but the fact of the matter is, King J is starting to read. So, people are so valuable that know languages like Chuck Morgan, King J, Son Ka, Jedamonk, Brother Reggie, Smash Rockwell. We don't spend our time faking so-called spirituality because this is an instance of burial. This man and his wife, they have permission to be buried, right? And they have permission to tell the story because this is the offering that the king makes to Impu. So it's like a proper death certificate. So yes, so it's three as, right? Which is plural for a place. And that's probably where he lives.
Again, this is more just to show you the complexity of this chronology. So again, we're talking about Old Kingdom through Second Intermediate. So in this area of within Egypt in the desert, here the Pangrave appear around the middle of the Middle Kingdom, and then to the end of that.
So Pangraves, you hear Uncle Cut talks about a lot about Pangrave culture. And then we see Pangrave culture in what you call the Nahesh groups, but you also see Pangrave also in what you call Egypt proper. So you have uh, phases and places where, so you see where it says Egypt, Nubia, you have Pangrave in the second intermediate period. Why is that important, right? Why do we see Pangraves in the second intermediate period, right? Maybe because of the wars of these groups of people now coming in, needing to come into what you call Egypt, right? That you see it, but you see Pangrave here, so you have to pay attention to this. Uh, and then again, they give you a really great breakdown of chronology. So I started over here at roughly around the New Kingdom because I saw the Pangrave, and I'm like, wow, Pangrave is we see a lot of Pangraves in this particular period, and but they here's the Nakata 2, Nakata 3, early dynastic period, A group, pre-Kermer, right? This would be something that a professor would ask you on an exam, right? To give you to write a paper or to draw this particular out, and if you can't do it, you won't get a good grade. And then she says over here, early Nubian cultures, middle Nubian cultures, right? So she would trick you and say, what are the early Nubian cultures? Or specify the middle Nubian cultures. And then you would go, yeah, C group, yeah, the phases. And then you might mess up and not say what's happening in Egypt. And this professor would not give you a good grade because in middle Nubian cultures, right, it extends into Egypt.
We just saw the A group, and Dr. Gatto explained very well how this is not necessarily a hiatus, but just a change in the way that Nubians are moving throughout the landscape. The C group with many different phases, and Kerma at the same time. Again, to help orient you, especially when we talk about Kerma, the center of that kingdom is here at the site of Kerma. The purple denotes the area of direct control by the Kerma kings, and then their influence, kind of sphere of influence, in the lighter purple, going all the way up to the border with Egypt. In the second intermediate period, this is also when the Hyksos dynasty, a Canaanite dynasty, is active in Avaris in the Delta, and the Egyptian kings, multiple dynasties fragmented, are sandwiched here in the middle in a place of
Oh, I don't know what happened.
So as early as the winter of
so wow, so she just told you about the Amos and Kamos. She talked about the Hekakasu groups of people, and I don't know if I cut out. Yeah, I think I cut out a lot of her conversation because I was really just trying to show how much we are actually missing. And I'm pretty sure she talked about that. But she talked about this particular area right here in the pink, right, of these groups of people, the Kustal, these groups of people, and then how close, watch this, how close it is, right? Because when you have Pianki in them is coming down from these periods right here, and they are this Jebel Barco over here. They are in another time period, they are crossing, once they cross into Elephantine, they are right in what they call Upper Egyptian territory, and they are fighting, and then they get over here, and then they're able to take this part of Egypt. So think about that. Think about uh, as in another period, they consolidated, controlled these regions, and then marched up to Elephantine and then Aswan, and then moved over. And I've been able to, I've been here in the what you call Middle Egypt, and I've been able to go as far as Aswan and Elephantine myself. Aswan and Elephantine myself. So I'm looking at the travels of Brother Reggie, and let me see. Yeah, right, the travels of Brother Reggie, and just to look at this in the map, just to see incredible. Maybe one day in my life I'll make it down to Custel, but there's war now. There's war in all these areas right now. Africans are killing Africans. Uh, these places are largely Islamic, uh, Christian areas. Uh, there's war here, and a lot of these places over here, uh, they built a dam, and so a lot of these places were underwater. Um, uh, so Africa's in flux. But over here, there's so much material. And then on the eastern desert, then you have things like Abia that they had just found. Okay. But what I was doing the other day was trying to teach you how to go to uh, Egypt, at least this area over here, Cairo, right, with a pyramids, Giza, right? This area right here. So I went on my trip, I went from all the way up here all the way down here. Brother Reggie went here all the way down here. I had to take a flight, and then we did a conference all the way down here. But before I took I spent some time here, and then spent more than 4 days down here. And I was trying to teach you because I think that they're overcharging. All they're just doing is some of these people figured out how to overcharge you when you can go to this area right here, go down the Nile. You can do this for 5 days for about $1,400 plus food, and then if you want to take a flight for another $400, uh, you could take a flight in a hotel all the way back down here. But otherwise, you can spend 5 or 7 days visiting all of this area right here for roughly 14, 16, 14, 15, $1,600 on a budget if two people come, double occupancy, right? And people are mad at me. They're mad at me because people are selling you trips for 4,000, 5,000, largely keeping you up in this area right here, and making you feel good, but um, but because they are calling themselves scholars, let me make sure something that is not on here. They're fleecing you. So if you could take you and your wife, or you and your son, or you and your daughter, right, uh, for $3,000, both two people, $3,000, spend 5 days, travel up and down the Nile in a felucca, and then take day trips, and then go to places like the Valley of the Kings. I'm messing up people's hustle because they are attaching, they got you. So they're attaching additional 1,500 to 1,500 or more. So imagine the same thing that I'm offering to tell you how to get there, which I've helped maybe 4 or 5 people in the conscious community to go there for less than $1,500. they're charging you $4,000 to $5,000. And so if you're paying, it take you to take your wife there, you would spend $8,000 when you can really spend only $3,000. What am I doing wrong? People saying, "Yo, you messing up people's money if they want to pay." Well, yeah, they're not. I'm not helping them. I'm helping you, right? They what are they doing? Putting a black face in front of you, putting on an Indiana Jones hat, acting like they know more. It was Dr. Joseph Benjo who taught us how to navigate this. And all they did is regurgitate his trips and charged you more. And when Dr. Joseph Benjo in his old age, all of these people that was making that money couldn't use that money to come and see him until his death day. I'm going to tell it, yo. I'm going to tell it. I'm going to tell it because I know who was there. I know who was not there. I know who came to see him when he was in the nursing homes and who did not. I know who came to see him at his funeral just I don't know, to pay respect to Dr. Ben or just to be seen there. But I know that when the time period that Dr. Ben had suffered a stroke and had to come back from Egypt, and then they began to repackage his trips. And so now they're little Dr. Joseph Ben Jocannons, but never crediting Dr. Ben. I'm gonna tell it, yo. I'm gonna tell it. I'm gonna tell the truth, right? So listen. I mean, I don't really care. It's the same thing as like they say, Brother Reggie bangs on people. I'm a bang because where's the center for Dr. Joseph Ben Jocannon in America? Where's the center for all these people that made all this money? Where's the center for Dr. Joseph Ben Jocannon? Where's the center for Dr. John Henry Clark? Right? Where is it? Right? Like I'm gonna bang, yo, because they made money. They made house money, yo. Okay, so where am I at now? It's 12 o'clock. I'm gonna finish this show. Let me see any comments. Any comments here? Any comments? Okay, so without any comments, let me just show you on the next show what I'm gonna do. What's going on? Bit more. Right. Okay, so the next show, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna talk more about this. We're gonna talk about the Pangrave groups, right? Me and King Jay's gonna read this name as best as we can. Uh, uh, I know it's. I definitely know his name. He's a Nubian name. That's the interesting thing. He has scarification, right? I know this is a Q. I don't know if this is an S. This is definitely a Desser or a Ah, right? MNT, minute, right? And I'm not so sure she's going to read the name, but here's these scarifications and these, and then the cattle. You see the cattle that's red and black. Notice that? And so we'll come back here. Hopefully King Jay will be here, and we can put that under the microscope. Uh, wow. So we have different sides of the now. El Cobb is very important uh, uh, because from this area right here, you have a lot of rock art, right? So it seems to have been inhabited by the Green Sahara groups of people, El Cobb, and it's on the other side of the Nile, right? There's Buhan that King Jay was talking about right here, Buhan to Aswan. These are the lower valleys that ancient Egypt got to when they were going to attack Kerma. Let's just move over here. Morog art. That's going to be interesting. We have Dr. Solange Asby, and she is going to talk about Morog funerary texts. Can't wait to hear her again. Met her at conference in where did I go? I went to it wasn't Chicago, was it? Oh no, it was in Boston. I met Dr. Solange Ashby there. Beautiful person, beautiful woman. Uh, you heard her name at the debate, okay? And then we deal with people like Reisner and stuff like that. And this woman right here, she is gonna tear Reisner apart. Man, this is gonna be so exciting. I can't wait to get to that. Um, she's a museum curator. She's responsible for, I think at one point she was in Boston, but she's been in a lot of. She's a museum uh, curator. Uh, uh, and she runs whole sections. Um, Now I can show you this. You want to hear this? Watch this. Let's show you this. Let's see over here. Okay, so let's. So anybody know Stuart Tyson Smith? Put their hands up. Press one. If you know Stuart Tyson Smith. Stuart Tyson Smith is very interesting, multi-genius type of person. Does a lot of work in Nubia, and you know him. You know his work a lot in different places. He's not the voice of like movie films like The Mummy, uh, but he writes the text for it. So you know how you catch up to a celebrity and say, "Yo, Michael Jordan, you know, hey Brunson, how you doing?" That's not what Reggie does. Reggie does this.
To him, and he's very busy. But I wanted to know.
This is
took
what
early
Brother Reggie
retirement,
does.
spent the rest of his life publishing all of the unpublished Reisner Nubian material.
Thank you very much.
Now, if you notice in here, there's Dr. Ashby here, Solange Ashby, and there's another young, bright African, Jetta Mark, sitting here. And this is this whole conference that we're watching. And I think I had put it up for people to go, but you could have went to the conference for free, right? It was a great day.
Denise, for this wonderful work and frankly the courage, to do what must be done in the times that we live in. It's not an easy task, so thank you so much for doing this.
That's it. Now, everyone knows who this man is, and I'm at the conference, and I got a chance to bump into him, and he's very busy. But I wanted to know about some of your.
Oh shoot! Who's talking? Who's talking? Who's interviewing him? Not people like the Himnetchetepes or his fanboys. No, not them. They're the ones who come around with the flowing robes and the ankhs and act like there's something that they're really not. But anyway, so some young man is talking to him. So let's see who this young man is. Well, I guess the voice sounds familiar. Let's see.
People are taking this out of context. When you say that you can call some Egyptians black, right? And it doesn't take away from the diversity of Africa, right? People are being so confused. Lots of times we're looking at one individual, right, on a painting, and then we're calling that person a Nubian or dark, right? And even when you do that, it seems some people say that you can't do that, right? That is an Egyptian. How do we confuse in the modern day ethnicity, climes, and diversity? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the important thing to recognize is that both race and ethnicity are cultural constructs and not biological realities. So there's no way to measure race. In a similar way, there's no way to measure ethnicity. Ethnicity in particular is situational and socially contingent. So people can shift ethnicities, but also it's something you assume in a particular interaction. So it's very variable. You can't necessarily identify ethnicity by just looking at traits. You have to look at interactions, which is where ethnicity plays out. In the case of race, you have to realize that Africa, as the cradle of humanity, has the most diverse genetic makeup of any continent, right? And as well as a variability in coloring and whatnot. So, and it's clinal. So people closer to the equator are darker. People closer, farther away north you go, people get lighter. And so we see in Egypt exactly what we would today, exactly what we might expect, which is variability. So people in southern Egypt, they may not, modern Egyptians, they may not self-identify as black by an American definition. If we would define them as black. And that's important because of the long history of racism and the way Egyptology has been entangled with that.
Okay, so what he just said was stuff that we have been arguing over 2-3 years ago about the one drop of color rule. Well, he's the one who wrote it in one of the encyclopedias, and he's just getting to it, right? So I'm just interviewing him about it, and he's dealing with color in ancient Egypt. Quick, fast, and hurry. But he's doing it for us because he knows that I was going to show it to my community. But you picked the wrong people to support, right? You really do pick the wrong people to kind of highlight and act like they do something that they really don't do, right? And then the other people that you do, you kind of lowboy them and say that they'll always be here and they take them for granted. But what Brother Reggie just did was that whole argument. Remember that whole argument that we had on the one drop blood and blackness? Well, the next time I come back, I'll play more of this. But Brother Reggie says, you know what? Stuart Tyson, he's going to be at the conference. I'm going to try to be the conference, right? So I can talk to him and I can ask him specifically. But what he did was two things. He talked about each variability of clients, and he said something very important. It's more like the interactions, same people interactions, if you didn't catch that. The other thing that he did was he brought in the African American experience with the one drop rule. We see a lot of this in books and we argue it in papers and we pull out quotes. I'm showing it to you right here on the big screen. I got another conversation with him. I'll show it at the next time, right? Very interesting conversation with him. But you people are picking the wrong. I just thought tonight I just toned down because I'm trying to warn you about something. I'm trying to warn you about fakeness, right, in our community, right? The Daddy Graces, the Reverend Ikes, the people that always walk around as if they're special. But when you ask where's the publications, right? Not that a person just teaches, but does a person teach you? Not their job, but how does it help you? But then when the fakes come into contact with real people that have been doing this work for a long time, you get very surprised at what you get. So a lot of people discounted me, thinking that somebody was just going to walk over me with some fake point. And what happened? It just didn't work. It didn't work, right? It didn't work because of the reach, and then the person comes back and says, "I don't got no scholarship," and all of this stuff like that. And I'm two ways. I could be a researcher. I could be a scholar. But when you go too far, I can end you, right? If I can touch you, and I'm not talking violently, but in academia, I can end you because the people I come in contact with, I really talk to, right? So someone said, my teachers are your teachers. No. You saying that they don't know you. They're acquainted with your name, but they don't know you. If you notice at the debate, the people that I brought forward, I actually talked to them, right? Many of them are my teachers, right? And when I came into them and they figured out what was going on, they was very truthful about the subject, or they decided not to gift him anything. You're doing what? You're saying that to who? To Reggie? To brother Reggie? Oh no, no, because you weren't honest. You didn't tell them that you was going to debate brother Reggie. No, you said, oh, I was going to use it for my class. Oh, that's EastFed. That's lying. And the way a person gets paid back for that is disassociation. You won't see in the future that character, right, talking at length with any of the people that I brought on, because I was very candid. And so tomorrow, I have to move it to 6 o'clock because I think Chuck Morgan is coming on at 6 o'clock. But I took it off Sinetta's page, so it's going to be on my own site, Africa Online, and I'm going to repost it. I'm going to look at an elder in our computer community, an ancestor, Baba Heruz Samaj, right? Sepata, Ankh-Ra Sepata. I'm going to look at his words at a sore ceremony, meaning a funeral. And I'm going to look at his great words. And we're going to find out if his words are real, actual, literal. Then we're going to look at his student, right? And to see if his student is betraying his own teacher's words. So I'm not playing. Sonny didn't pop back in. I'm not playing. I'm going to take everything and I'm going to show that this person, he says, Reggie doesn't believe this stuff. I know that Reggie doesn't believe this stuff. Well, if you know what I believe, I know what you believe. And you're messing with the wrong person. You're messing with and you fanboys, I'm going to get you. Every single one of you who propped up somebody. Don't try to be people's friends. Don't try to be friendly, right? Because they're not your teachers. And when you come around my teachers, I'm just going to because my teachers are my teachers, but they're also my family. Oh, they're my family. I'm just going to let them know what you said when you said it. You're not going to have a career. You're not going to be respected. And believe it or not, on some of the conferences, I get a call. So I get a chance to see if you pop up trying to be on one of the conferences. You submit an abstract, going in the garbage. I'm not going to write you back. You don't think I'm not. Why? Because I have history of you being unacademic and unscholarly. You don't think that's true? Yeah. So why? Because I'm really a nice guy. Let me teach. If I'm beefing with somebody, stay out of it. I'm beefing with somebody. But if you want to act like you are somebody, you're going to find out. I got you. It's all going to come, right? So some of your writing and your books and stuff like that, when it's not being sold, right? Right? Because you know why? Because you did something that was wrong. You did overmuch in a conversation, right, of a parent, that's me, to a child, that's who I debated. And you took the child's point of view and disrespected the parents. The parents are the people who have actual real connections with how things got started, right, in academia. But you took the position of a child without doing any research, and you showed yourself. And you just think because, maybe the relationship between me and Sarnetta, that he doesn't promote me that much. And why? He doesn't have to. I could promote myself. I don't have to be in a Coliseum unless I want to be in a Coliseum. Otherwise, I'm doing different type of work. Put myself on a big screen. So you took the position of a child. It's unbelievable. I went to West Africa in 1986 with Dr. Clark. I traveled to Tuba Mosque. I was his escort. Do you know what it is to knock on the door of Tuba Mosque? Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Tuba Mosque opens. Dr. Jeffries speaks French to the great people of the Tuba Mosque, tells them about Dr. John Henry Clark. He's right here. Can we get entry? The imam of the mosque comes and says, Dr. Clark, I am so busy. We're involved in a funeral type of thing, or you have free reign. If we can see you, we'll see you later. But we are in a meeting. But you have free reign of Tuba Mosque. Dr. Clark walks in with Dr. Jeffries. Dr. Jeffries is a little boy compared to Dr. China Clark. You got to be able to see this. An understudy, a student of Dr. Clark. The great Dr. Leonard Jeffries is just a mere student. Dr. Clark. Dr. Clark walks in to the mosque. The first thing he does is walks to this big kind of well, fountain. Dr. Clark takes off his shoes. He takes off his socks, and we're just looking at him until he gave a grimace to Dr. Jeffries. You know, one of those grimaces? Do what I do. Dr. Jeffries comes. He takes off his shoes. He takes off his socks. He looks at me like, what are you doing, stupid? I take off my shoes and socks. I don't know what's going on. Right? Dr. Clark washes his feet. We wash our feet. I wash my feet. Then we walk through Tuba Mosque barefoot. It hurt. It hurt. My African American feet is not built for African. It ain't granite, yo. It's I mean, it's not marble. It's more like granite. We walk all through the mosque. We go up to the. This is Dr. Clark now. This is not the old Dr. Clark that you see. This is Dr. Clark in his 70s. Dr. Clark, we walk to the, what is the prayer thing where they do the call for prayer? Some of you know, it's like maybe about 6 stories. We walk there, we see the whole mosque. We see it's like a ancient medieval, what we saw was a medieval Africa, where there is so many colors, so many people selling things outside the market. We see we see the gates, we see the land, and this is Dr. Clark explaining to his student, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, about the emergence of this mosque, right? And that they fought the Arabs, and that they wrote the Quran in their own language, in an African language, and they fought the Arabs. And their great leader. And then we walk back down, tender-footed, through the rest of the mosque. This is 1986. We go to Gorée Island because we're in Senegal. In Gorée Island, we see all different types of Europeans uh, the elements of them in the slave trade. We see on the way there, we see young Africans, 7, 8 years old, swimming in the live ocean. We get there, we go to the forts, these different forts. They're small forts with doors of no return. Um, we get there to one of the big dungeons. Brother Reggie goes in the center of the dungeon. Brother Reggie digs at least a half a foot down in the ground, right? This is hundreds of years, hundreds of years, where there's piss, there's urine, there's vomit, there's blood, there's defecation of our ancestors. There's fear, there's pain, there's anguish of Africans in chains. And the deepest part that I can dig, I swallow it so that I'll never ever forget what these people did to our people. My rage comes from what is in my body that I put in my body, connecting to me to the blood, the piss, the pain, the tears, the frightness, the knowing that they will never come back. And that prepared me for who I am. You may look at me and you may think that I'm a character that is on Black News 102, but I am not. And my rage, it comes from something else. And so I tell people, just let me teach, but don't try to lowball me and act like you are something that you are not. Don't do that. But it's happened. It's happened. It's really, really happened. Um, Intellectual debate is intellectual debate. But when I see a food trap, lunch money, I think of what happened to African people, right? I think of what happened to my parents and grandparents in Virginia and North Carolina. And anybody that does that to me, if I could touch them, I would. I don't play like little games because for me, that represented a slave fort in a dungeon. It represented me being in another place. You see the movie like I think it was called Sankofa, when the model she was transported back into Africa, right? And during the slave trade, yeah, that really happens, yo. That really happens in your mind in these places. When you realize that everything that you thought, the comfort of America, you find out it was from this place, these places. And then you have shallow people walking around like they are somebody that they're not. And they don't read the tea leaves correctly. Hey, listen, I'm sane. Brother Reggie is pretty sane. I'm cuckoo. But then sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm not. And I'm telling you why. Because I can culminate the life experiences of African people, the things that happen to African people all the time in America. I do it. But then when you take somebody and you try to do it for clicks and giggles, most of you never met me. I'm not a scary person or nothing like that. But I'll tell you how I feel. Like some people you just leave alone and you just avoid them. And if it's agreement, disagreement, you do that. But some people, they're not, they got other things inside them. So when you talk about voodoo and they talk about uh, the balsam and uh, the balsam, uh, uh, I did the same thing in the slave forts and dungeons of Amina Castle and Cape Castle. Same ritual. They're in myself. They're in my belly. Most people know me. I tell them and they know it, right? I don't just do no ritual. I don't carry no freaking ankh. I don't do that, right? So some people cross the line. When you cross the line, look, I could teach all day. I can do this all day. And this is what I prefer to do. Get some, if you want, I call it lunch money. Fine. But if you're going to make fun out of me, I'm going to touch you. And you people over here who took sides, you didn't do the research. You don't know nothing about Kemet. What do you know about Kemet? Can you read a sentence? You want to test? You want me to bring up some metaneta? Right? You want to read something for me? But all of a sudden, you're going to just choose somebody? That just bugs me out. But I'm not, I just told the person, just, hey, man, look, don't go too far. You know, whatever. People say I started it first. No, I didn't start it first. I didn't start it first. You guys sound at it. I really didn't start it first. What I did was make a critique on the Kemetic practices at large. That person inserted themselves into that conversation. And then it became this vibrato stuff. I was talking about uh, differences that I have with innovative, because I think at that time that it could start off good, but it can become very cultish. And I just made a critique about information. But then it becomes I'm messing with somebody's bread and butter and food and culture, and I don't know enough. And then maybe that was like 8, 9 years ago, like that. And then it came up to here. But then it becomes when you start talking about food traps, things like uh, making a person homeless. What else? Attacking somebody's old degree. Every one of you that says something nasty about me and I didn't do anything to you, I didn't do anything to you. I just saw a screen in the message, right? Not every one of you, but the big ones, I'm going to get you. I didn't do anything to you. Stay out of grown people business. If you're not affiliated with any of this stuff, stay out of grown folks' business. Right? That's all. Isn't that what your parents taught you? But you want to. So that interrupts people from learning, right? Because you want to say nasty things about me. You want to call Brother Reggie Beggy. I got you. Like, our fight is just not information for information's sake. It's to produce Malcolm X's, Marcus Garvey's, Nat Turner's, Asantewas, Sada Shakur's, right? Stephen Biko's, Winnie Mandela's, right? Um, Members of the Black Panther Party, Dr. Khalid Muhammad. It's to produce people like that. It's not to produce window washer professors. It's not that. I want many of you to be part of the revolution for our people to care. But if you're going to hang around professors that are not really community people, well, how you know? You could just go into their local newspapers, Google them, see what they've done for people. And then when you don't find it, I want you to make a decision about what's real and what's not. Instead of watching Black News 102 Southern Studios and watching the things that go on, the shenanigans, people pump fake in, won't you just Google people's names? A person says that they're a scholar, see if they have any writing anywhere. If they don't, they're not a scholar. Isn't that reasonable? Google them. Person's a historian. Google them. See what they wrote. Look for associations. But we don't live in the real world. We're actually living in this YouTube world. And I'm not the person that you just disrespect because you think you can. I'm just not that person. Not. So I would prefer to do all of this. I would prefer to kind of teach. I'm not selling no wolf tickets. I prefer to do this. Right? But then if you take a debate and then you lose the debate and then you do a video on all my errors to people that didn't even watch the debate, who does that? I'm under the microscope. I'm examining all Brother Reggie's errors. Oh, you have to do that because you lost the debate. And everybody that was there in that room knows you lost that debate. But you got to clean it up. You got to, Brother Reggie didn't source. Watch Unc's show. Brother Reggie did not source? Oh, man. Brother Reggie did not source? Oh, he didn't source right? When is that a part of a Sonetta debate? Brother Reggie did source. Question is, watch his debates and look at his sources. Look at the people who he debated, like Dr. Vince Bantu. Look at their sources. Why are new rules for Brother Reggie? Because you lost. But it's not the fact that you lost. It's the sycophants that listen to you. That's cultish behavior. Why are there new rules all of a sudden in the conscious community? Looking at my sources. I have sources. Why don't you look at the substance of my articles? Won't you look at who I bought, like Dr. Ricchetti's public work everybody is available to, but I was around when she made those remarks. Well, won't you, you don't respect Infidisi Jehudimas no more? Oh, you respected him until this debate. Then you say, Brother Reggie led Infidisi Jehudimas. Brother Reggie can't wipe Infidisi Jehudimas's shoe for the work that he's done in the community. The Infidisi is almost 80 years old, if not 80 years old. Infidisi was in Malcolm's organization. Right? That's Infidisi Jehudimas. Y'all don't know that. He's a great elder. He just looks young. He's a great elder. He just looks young. And he decides that he wants to speak to me about or answer my questions. And you go and you have these sycophants saying that Brother Reggie led him. You listen to these liars. Brother Reggie can lead Dr. Richetti or Ifedici or Dr. John Henry Clark? Y'all believe that? Brother Reggie sits in council humbly, like a child to these people. I don't get the cult worship y'all people working on. I don't get it. I don't get it. But you know what? I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna end it. Right? I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna end it because you know what? You brought pain to my household. You threatened that you're gonna get a lawyer and I'm gonna be homeless. Threaten me, and then you cry, but you threaten me. Brother Reggie's gonna be homeless because I can't critique you. Okay. I want to say good night, everybody. I want to say thank you for coming. And I'm laughing. Take this to the bank. Ask some of these people, how's your life really? How's your life? Not the facade. How's your life really? Right? Y'all watch too much videos, smoke and mirrors. Y'all watch that and y'all believe it. Do some research. We can help. With that said, I want to thank you all. Let me see if I want to thank anybody who gave me a donation. I want to thank, because after that, of course, 6,000 people watch a hit on Brother Reggie. Huh. Brother Reggie's lucky to get $25, right? And I never asked for a lot. That's the whole thing, right? But let me just see, because I can thank the people. But after 6,000 people watch a hit of let's just see. Yeah, like I thought. I think I got, let's see. Uh, hey, Frederick, thank you so much. Visa, thank you always. Robert Mitchell, always. Thank you. Christine, Naja, I love you. You always support. Sister Safa, thank you so much. And so that makes about 5 people. I'm lucky to get that, and I'm so I'm thankful to get that, because after somebody comes up and lies on me for 6,000 people about my errors, that's hard to recover. That's hard to recover. It's really hard to recover my credibility. I may never be able to recover my credibility, but because you did that to me, I'm gonna make you pay. I'm gonna take everything. I'm from Castle Hill Projects. I don't pump fake. You think it's play? Brother Reggie, I'm not wrapped too tight, bro. I'm not. Not with stuff like that. Damaging my name after all the free time and information that I've given. And I'm not a researcher no more. I'm a poor researcher. I worked at the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture of the New York Public Library. Dr. John Henry Clark gave me that job with Dr. Leonard Jeffries. I worked there for 5 years. I worked for a law office for 16 and a half years. I got a degree in computer science that I used that degree for Black institutions. I was on the editorial board of the Schomburg Center, right? The work that my team did helped build the new theater at the Schomburg Center. I work with Yemeni Nagimi, Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Leonard Jeffries on a 3-person translation team to translate Dr. Shekant Diab's Civilization of Barbarism. And you're going to make a video on me. What have you done? Telling the people that I'm a poor researcher, a poor writer, I make mistakes. And so, and some of the sycophants, they called me on the phone today about some video I'm going to do tomorrow on my personal phone. On my personal phone. To tell me what? That's like knocking on my door, bro. Like that's invasion of my privacy. That's a sickness. Call me on the phone. These are boys to me, children. And they're going to call me on the phone, family. As to say what I should do and what I should not do. That's when it gets sick. And that's beautiful because I'm the right person to get sick with. I'm the right person. Right? I'm the right person. That's that. So this is the real consciousness community, the real Black community, the things that you don't see. Call me on my phone. My phone. And I'm like, is this a threat? This is what really happens in New York. This is what I haven't been threatened like that or I perceive it as a threat. Y'all think it, I don't know what y'all think goes on here, but this is crazy, yo. And they don't think that, they think that that's okay. Like they got a connection with me. I got you. I got you. I'm just telling you what happens behind the scenes. Over information. Because you know what? It's not really about information, yo. Let me keep it 100. It's about clout. It's about money. It's not about, it's about people's personal money. It's not, people are selling information that they didn't do themselves. They're putting themselves and calling themselves all of these crazy names, all these fake comedic names, all of these other funny names. My name is Reggie Mabry. That's my regular name. I don't hide like Dr. Leonard Jeffries, like Dr. John Clark. We don't hide behind fake aliases. But that's what's happening on YouTube right now. Everybody with a fake name. Now you get a fake name with Kemet and you special. Now I want to know your real name because you know mine. So family, do you understand what I'm saying? Like this is crazy. Anyway, let me put on some music. Maybe you'll like it. And I want to say good night to the family. Thank you. Thank you for being here this long night. Some of the people always here. E1B1, Afro, always here. Peace to you. So some of the other people that's here. Niggas call me on my phone. This brother Harwin, man, you ain't gotta give me a dime, man. Just do what you gotta do, man. I appreciate you. Right? Some of the other people over here. I support young people, and I just younger people support y'all. There's people here who got money, but they want to go and do comedic yoga. They want to go to conferences, and yo, one day I'm gonna do a real effed up show Because I'm going to tell it all, bro. I'm going to tell it all. I might have to wait a little while till some of the elders get a little bit older. We can't do this alone, bro. We can't. That among the people that want to do right, there's so many people that want to do wrong. Look, they ain't got nothing. Some of the people I know, they ain't got nothing on Polite and nothing on Umar Johnson. But the problem is, I think that some of you support that stuff. Y'all become connected to the hustle and get nothing. Y'all become the biggest supporters, the biggest defenders, and you get nothing. And then when things go wrong, you walk away like you wasn't part of it. Crazy. I've seen it happen with another generation, but now I see it happening now. And so there are some people in our community that do real good work. Look at there's some younger people. They're getting beat up right now, but hopefully they're getting beat up because it's just political. But I'm there to support people, young people like Harwin and King J. I don't have to support Son Ka. He's already made his way. I'm really interested in promoting Immortal Dragon review. There's a few other young people that teach, and there should be room for them on a big platform. But what happens is some of the people on a platform, they suck everything out. And I'm not talking about our platform. I'm talking about them other platforms. Crazy UFO stuff, black UFO stuff, melanin stuff. None of that stuff work, right? What do you call it? Free school or first schools? These people ain't millions of dollars, yo. What's the dude with the alien dude? The black dude with the alien dude? What's his name? Who does the aliens and stuff, the UFOs? How they help you? The other dude, what's his name? The school dude that built the school. What's his name? Oh, I know the dude. We talked a couple of times, right? In a different type of way. We talked a different type of way, right? Yeah. Look, but y'all support these people. Y'all act like y'all maybe because some people they're nothing and they have to attach themselves to somebody that they think is somebody instead of they're doing their own work. Oh, Billy Carson, thank you so much. What is this? I do agree with you. I feel that these both elders they shouldn't be in here airing this out. It's my platform. Who are you? I mean, wait. Somebody gonna say they're gonna make me homeless? And no, I'm not. Wait, you're right. I'm not gonna just air this out on YouTube. I'm talking about the wider struggle. You may be simply thinking about a particular issue. Maybe I might talk about that issue, but I'm talking about the wider black struggle. You're just thinking I'm talking about one person? I was just talking about Omar and some other people. But you want to bring it back to one person? If we don't air this stuff out, where do we air it out? Give us the solution. Give us the solution. What's the solution? We debate. Sometimes we debate. Some people don't even debate. Where do we air it out? What's our structure? Oh, that's your feelings. That's cool. You have your feelings. Oh, the show's been over for a long time. This is my air out show. I'm not your elder. I don't want to be your elder. I'm not your elder. Go find some elder that you're comfortable with. I'm not your elder. This is an air out show. I already ended my conversation show. So now you want to beef with me? That's what I like. Okay. So with that said, at the end of the day, yeah, Gian Capone, it is. I'm not attributing it to this platform. I support this platform, but I'm making the question is we made as a community so much money. Why are we so still disconnected and ununified? Sometimes you got to look at where you are and the symptoms of where you are, and you try to find an explanation. Just making a comment doesn't fix anything. So you decided to go on my show. You can go back maybe an hour or 45 minutes. You can go back 2 hours. I'm pretty sure that I gave great information. But you know what the real thing is? You know what the real thing is, family? I know what people pay attention to. So the information I gave, that's not important because you are who you are, right? The information is in the beginning of the show. This is not the information. So you can rewind, and I'm pretty sure you'll be satisfied. Everybody who watched the show would be satisfied. But you people in here talking, you want the ish. And then you want to complain about it. See, I'm not from where you are. I'm from a way different place. So I know who you are. You can go back all the way an hour and a half. There's great information on Nubia, Egypt. There's meta nature reading. There's great scholars. Everybody knows that. But you're not in it for that. You're in it to find a way to criticize, right? You're not there to hear about Tuba Mosque where I can get to Elmina. You're not here for that. I know who you are. You're here for the ish. And then you want to act like you're not. This part of the show, I can ask Sonetta to cut it off. This is my extra show. So I'm saying a lot, but a little. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm saying a lot, right? You just don't understand the little. So I want to say peace to the family, like I was, and I want to say thank you. Keep contributing to the suckers. Keep following those suckers. See where your kids get to, right? See where your kids go. I'm always interested in people. Thank you, Howard. I'm always interested in people, who they are. But when you find out who their children are, I'm always interested in that. That's crazy. You want to know about Brother Reggie? Well, Brother Reggie, come on, man. Brother Reggie, ex-wife PhD, right? My son, he's hopefully going to be a PhD in the next 2-3 months. Uh-huh, yeah. My parents are hardworking people from the South. Uh-huh, yeah. And I can keep going on about personal stuff. What about you? What about you? What about your families? Maybe you spend too much time on the internet. Maybe you're doing too much gossiping. Maybe you're doing too much name calling. Maybe you're doing too much time watching other people. Did you finish school? Right? Now everybody has to finish school now. No, look, you probably make more money. There's a lot of great jobs that you can make money on, right? But if that's not your expertise, why you got so much to say? That's the point. You can take this time and you can learn and you can better yourself, right? But I see a lot of chatty patties with fake experts who are disrespectful to people. It's Brother Reggie. You didn't come from the school that maybe I came from or maybe Harwin came from, because I know people like that, right? Where they give what you give, they get what you get, right? They know when you're tested, when you're not, right? And you peep game. Because see, if I didn't peep game, if I didn't read the comments, I wouldn't know where everybody was. But I read the comments, so I know, okay, that person right there, stay away from that person. Another person, like Immortal Dragon, not Immortal Dragon. What's my brother, Indigenous Black Man? Cool. Indigenous Black Man. He got his right to say whatever he want to say, right? Some of these other people, so there's a lot of sisters on the chat. They don't come on the chat. They don't come on the chat. The reason why they don't come on the chat because of the way that men act, and they can smell it, and they're in the chat with them, and they can figure that out. And sometimes that's not the place. Then you got the loudmouth women, the ones that want to attach themselves to somebody, and then they want to act like they special. This is the ghetto, but in the ghetto, we are trying to disseminate information. But I'm not your elder, yo. I'm not nobody's elder. You can learn from me. If I'm an elder to my family. I know how these people operate. 1 minute, I know I'm not your elder, but if you can learn something from me and we can appreciate each other, that's fine. You got something nice to say, fine. I never have a problem with somebody who don't got nothing nice to say about the work, about the material. I never have a problem. You know, I have a problem with people who are nobodies in their life that always got something to say. And I let the chat feed that. Because the people who want to learn, they just sit back and they just learn. But the people who got something in them, they're the ones in the chatty patty. That's the problem. It's those people. And that's why I'm doing this after show, because 6,000 people watched a video of some dude who lost a debate, find a reason to go back and create whole new rules on a debate because they lost a debate. And they think that the audience is going to go for it. Right? And I'm like, and the person that they was talking about was me, Reggie. And I'm like, I took up debate. It's true, we don't like each other, but the information was about the debate, about the information. It was supposed to be right. It was supposed to just be about the information. Now I see a food trap, and I'm supposed to eat that. I got an old computer science degree in a debate about Egypt, and you people want to go for that? You people really want to sit down there and let him go through a debate that you didn't even see? Go watch Uncle Keck's show as Uncle goes through the false claims. If it was anybody else that could get away with it, they can't get away with that stuff with me. You're going to lose a debate, and then you're going to examine me under a microscope. I mean, the European don't even do that, bro. Peace to the family. Hope everybody who is who's good-hearted and wants to learn, hope they have a good, great night. Some of the other people, I hope that you get better. And to the people that are really sick, I'm sick too. Right? I'm sick too. So those type of people, right? I'm sick too. Right? I'm real sick. Let me just see. And I don't kiss nobody's behind for no daggone cash apps. I just offer my Cash App. It's always a small donations, but I appreciate the donations because I know that some people can understand. But the other people who always got something nasty to say, that's why you're here on the late night, 113 support, right? Because you're looking for something. There you go. And I want to say good night to everybody in general. Peace to the family. If you go back to the video earlier, you'll find I'm pretty sure you'll find some information about Nubia that you like, and I'll do another show on Nubia. But tomorrow, family, I am, if I get a chance to, I'm going to do a show on the betrayal of a Kemetic teacher with evidence. I'm going to show the non-literal betrayal of a man and his teacher. You want to see that? And ain't nobody can stop me from doing it. Okay, so whose song is, oh, this is a good song. All right, so peace to the family. That's not it. What's that? Night driving love. Where is it? Where is the song? I'm on the right space. Info space. What happened to music? What happened to the music? This is Black News 102. Background music. More music. What's music? Oh man, I mean, I have no music. I can't find the music. Oh. Well, I'm gonna have to end the show. I don't. For some reason, I don't see the music that was here. So I don't know what happened. Let me see. Black News 102. Let me see. Let's try this. Yeah, let's see this one right here. Let's see any music here. Yeah, I see some more things. So let's try this. Yeah. Who wants to smoke?
Yeah. You bump a checking on my phone. What's the smoke? 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 Temperatures going up, the heat is rising, scholars are showing up, audience vibing. We on a mission, competition is the only desire. Whose information will be facing the unmerciful fire. So stand up through hell, too tough to order. We shells at the fire, fan the flames, rising and body inexperienced debaters. Start to choke on the fumes, bring science, bring wisdom, bring your religion. If you can't stand the heat, then please don't come in the walls, kitchen is session, learn a lesson, fighting, overcome your fear. Who will be the best debates by the time all the smoke clears? Who wants the smoke? Who wants the smoke? Who wants the smoke? Who wants the smoke? The smoke. Who wants the smoke? The smoke. Smoke.